10 ways. Today, we're talking about 10 ways to save money RVing. If you want to travel more and spend less, then stay tuned all the way to the end for our biggest money-saving tip of all.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the RV Living Show. We're Bryan and Luann Street of Where the Streets Wander. We have an RV lifestyle website that offers inspiration, education, and encouragement for the RV life.
Yeah, and a big welcome to all those who are with us live today and those who are watching the replay.
Yeah, so we're going to get started here with our topic of the week, right?
That's right.
We're going to be talking about all our best tips for saving money while RVing.
Yeah, everybody wants to save a little money and travel more.
We do, and we do in particularly, especially if you're full-time, you want to make that travel dollar go farther, right? It's important to stretch that dollar and make it go farther so you can see more and do more, right?
That's right. Have more fun out there doing it.
So our very first tip that we're going to be talking about today is the one I think that probably, I don't know if it saves us the most money, but it makes the biggest impact in our budget if we do it faithfully, and that's eating at the RV. I think as full-timers, we have a tendency, and I think anybody does who RVs, like you're in vacation mode, right? You go somewhere and you don't want to cook, but as full-timers, that's a huge piece of our budget. And so our tip that we're sharing with you today is about eating at your RV, having your meals there as often as you can, because the temptation is to be in vacation mode and always eating out.
Right, it's being more intentional what we're doing. You know, it's great to go somewhere and experience some of those kind of unique restaurants in those little towns throughout the United States, but that's okay. But we're talking about, being more intentional and eating at the RV for sure. Saves you a lot of money.
It does save you a lot of money. And so talking about that too is, in addition to that, is the meal planning. So sometimes eating at the RV is a little overwhelming. Your refrigerator may be smaller depending on what size your RV is. So planning for your trip or even for your full-time life, you need to strategically plan for your food so it doesn't always maybe go to waste because you bought too much or you bought the wrong ingredients and cooked something else. So we really like to follow a meal plan because then that can give us an idea of what we should buy for the week and what we can actually eat that week. Now, I'm not talking about being, you can be so strategically, where Saturday is this dinner. We tend to do it more that we're going to have these meals this week, and then we kind of flow with what we feel like cooking and stuff. Yes. So
that's also really helpful when you're limited space in your RV. You just plan out what you're going to eat for that week. You don't have to store so much food.
That's right. And if your fridge is smaller, that's a huge help right there. So our third one is camping memberships.
That's right. We love camping memberships. That's a great way. What you get involved in memberships is to save some money. Now, memberships are not free, and it's not like free camping, but it can really reduce the overall cost of your camping. And we tend to use camper memberships a lot. Especially if we're planning a trip somewhere, I'm always looking. Where's that nearest campground I can go to where I have a membership or a reduced cost. That way, when we get to travel, we get to enjoy where we're going, and also the benefit of, like we said, trying to save some money doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. And if you have 1,000 Trails membership and you're in a certain part of the country, that's a huge benefit to cutting your camping costs. Another thing is Boondockers Welcome. If you're, wanting to boondock more or you want to just save some money, Boondockers Welcome lets you park for 1 or 2 or 3 days, even depending on the campsite, and you can get more mileage out of that. Our favorite is Harvest Host for boondocking. That's our favorite.
That's our favorite, especially when you're traveling from point A to point B. If you could map out some of these, like the Boondocker Welcome, the Harvest Host, those are some great places to visit, especially overnight, because, when you go to a campground overnight, it's not a lot you can do, but you go to one of these places, it's kind of relaxing. It really is. We really enjoy that much.
Yes, and it's just a whole different experience.
Yeah,
so.
I will say one thing about campground memberships. There's a lot of them out there. So, and some of them are spread, throughout the United States. So when you're looking at buying a membership, think about what area you're going to be traveling in and which membership is going to benefit you the most.
Yeah, and you can use our campground reservation log to help you remember which membership applies to that reservation. And it also prompts you to ask when you're making a reservation, do you take any of these? We've been to a few campgrounds where we have actually made the reservation and we're kind of just going with the given Good Sam 10% off because that seems to be the basic one that everybody offers. But when we got there, I happened to see the little placard and they were Passport America and it saved us 50%. So our camping was $11 instead of a $22 for that night.
Yeah, it's important to remember to ask that.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yes. And Passport America, you can do up to 3 days. So the links are not up yet if you're watching live up in the description yet, but we're going to put the links to a lot of these campground memberships for your convenience up there.
Right.
So our next money saving tip is to do visitor centers and chambers of commerce when you come into an area. So that can give you a lot of idea of what is really cool to see in the area. And honestly, a lot of the things that are really neat to see are free. And they could have free events in that part of town, that you could have a concert in the park or something that you might feel interested in, and they don't cost any money. And so this is a really great way to save some money on travel.
That's really great because we found a lot of great things going to there and just talking to someone to find out what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like too, it helps you kind of strip out all the touristy things, because when you talk to the people at the Chamber of Commerce, they know that the touristy things get all the great, advertisement and all the marketing. So you already know about them, but they're super helpful in helping you carve out whatever your time frame is for your visit. We've done that a lot.
Yeah, we also tell them the things we like to see, and they'll point out things in the town or even nearby areas to go visit. It's really nice.
Yes. So that's our fourth money saving tip. So our fifth one is, and this applies mostly to your campground fees. On your campground reservation log that you can get with this video, you can ask for a discount when you're going into that campground. Sometimes they could have first-time visitor discounts. You might be military, and if you're military, you're probably already really mindful of the fact that you can ask for that discount. But just always ask. It never hurts to ask. Years ago, we took a Dave Ramsey course at Financial Peace University, and he always said, no matter what you're buying, ask for a discount. It can't hurt. All they have to do is say, nope, there's not one. But, sometimes there is. So
yeah, you're good at that, especially going to stores. You're always asking for it if there's a coupon you can use or something.
Yeah, I have done that. I think we were at Penny's one time, and we had all these clothes. Bryan had picked out a bunch of shorts and shirts, and none of it was on sale, but I said, do you have a coupon that we can apply to this? And she pulled one out and she scanned it, and we saved like 40%. And if I hadn't asked, because I didn't personally have the coupon to give her, we never would have got that discount. So we kind of live by this, or at least I do when Bryan follows. So
learn to follow.
Learn to follow. Okay, this next one is you, Bryan.
Stay in one place longer. Absolutely. This is something we've learned when we first started out. We wanted to keep traveling, and it is great to travel. It's what we try to do as part of the life. But when we learned to stay a little bit longer in one place, we started enjoying ourselves so much more. We also have the benefit of the reduced cost, because most campgrounds will give you just like 1 day free if you stay a week, or even in a month. A lot of them will give you like a week free at that rate. So we've learned to pick an area you want to go to, stay in that area a little bit longer, and it's more relaxing. And plus, we've saved a lot of money doing that.
Yes, it has really impacted our travel budget a lot as full-timers.
Yeah, I'm surprised also, but the monthly rate, as some of these campgrounds, the monthly rate is really low.
It depends on what part of the country, what's nearby to see. If it's a super, super exciting destination, you're probably not going to get too much of a lower rate on a monthly, but in smaller parts of the country, it really can make an impact.
Absolutely.
So number 7 is change your domicile. Now this applies to full-timers who you're on the road and you're living somewhere because you either have a home back home or you've maintained your domicile, and a domicile just means a place to stay, a place to live. So we actually changed domiciles when we went full-time. We lived in North Carolina, and we changed domiciles to Florida for tax purposes. Different states have different taxes. It ranges anywhere from property taxes on up to sales taxes, and your income taxes, if your income is taxed in that state. And so these are ways that you can actually save money in your RV travels by changing your domicile. Now, I'm not a tax advisor. I don't give that advice, but you should look into this if this is something that is appealing to you. A lot of times too, if you are considering a big RV purchase, changing your domicile to a sales tax state that is more friendly to your pocketbook could make an impact on, you purchasing that RV.
That's very important.
So that's our tip number 7. All right. So our tip number 8 is to work camp or volunteer. Tell us how that works.
Work camping has become very popular. We meet work campers all the time, and that they're really enjoying this lifestyle where they actually, your work camping is basically trade-ins a few hours a week for your campsite.
And sometimes amenities.
And amenities
like
too.
Your laundry or even your firewood or things that you would use in the course of staying at the campground. Sometimes those things are included.
I think each campground probably who does this has different maybe requirements.
Well, they do. Yeah, it's totally individual.
Yeah. But what is also interesting about work camping is like people who will be wintering in Florida for a couple of months while the weather is bad. This is a great place. If you could work camp down there, you could actually stay down there practically almost for free. That at least it cuts your expenses way down. But what a great way to spend your winter,
And when we say work camp, also volunteering, I think a lot of the state parks and the national parks and those, what's the one where you stay? Oh, it just left me. Anyway, the other one where you can stay more remote, I forgot what it is, not BLM, but I'll think of it soon. Anyway, they consider you a volunteer when you are doing that for them. Is instead of a work camper, you're a volunteer. You're volunteering for the Park Service, you're volunteering for the State Park Service. And a lot of those are, instead of maintaining the campground, they're either handling the driver's shack when people come through, the entrance fees, collecting fees, or lifting the gate, or just being on call for,
even being like a tour guide.
Yes, there's a lot of those available.
Yeah, we found a couple of places that we had some state parks and that met people doing this, and they had some great jobs.
When we were in Mississippi along the Natchez Trace, we stopped at one of the historical sites, and there was a store there, and the historical site, I guess, had a house you could tour in another piece. And the couple that was camping there, they had gotten this job, volunteer position, and they stayed we saw their RV when we pulled up, and they manned the store and they locked up the place, and that was the extent of their camping position requirements, and they got to stay for free with electric and water and everything for the months that they were staying there. And it was a pretty cushy thing. I mean, you weren't necessarily cleaning bathrooms at that point.
It's a beautiful site there.
Sometimes I think work camping tends to lend itself that way in your thinking, and that's not all what it is. There are many different types of positions for work camping or volunteering.
Yeah, work camping is not only saves you money, but it also when you're traveling and you want a little some extra things to do during the week, it really fills in some extra time.
It does.
You know, makes your whole experience a lot better.
Unless you're working.
Unless you're working.
So, okay. So number 9 is doing routine maintenance.
How important is maintenance? You know, we want our RVs to work day in and day out, and we depend on them. You know, little things we do, you know, to just maintain RVs can go a long way in keeping everything working properly. You know, I think maintenance is like the number one thing you're going to do to save yourself some money, especially on your RV.
Well, you're being proactive and before things break, and I think that is a huge thing.
Yeah, and staying on a schedule is very important as well, because, you know, just because we did maintenance on our RV one day, you know, we think we just did it. It may have been actually weeks or months before we actually look at it again. So it's important to find a way to stay on the schedule.
Yeah, and remember.
And remember how to do it.
That's the key thing, right? Well, we told you guys to stay all the way to the end for our one big thing that we think saves us the most money. And so number 10, drum roll.
Here we go.
So is to use a travel rewards credit card. So as full-timers, and you could do this in your part-time RV life too. You can use a travel rewards credit card and if you put all of your purchases on this card all month long and pay it off every month. Now, I know I don't want any hate mail. I know we're supposed to be, you know, we're preaching debt free. And we do pay ours off every month. And if you're a Dave Ramsey fan, he wouldn't necessarily agree with what I'm telling you. So, but this works really well in our life. And I'll tell you why. All of our monthly expenses go on this travel rewards credit card. And it offers us at the end of the month to erase our purchases. So even though you think travel rewards means that you have to fly somewhere or rent a car or get a hotel, that's not true for the credit card that we own. And I don't think it's true for a lot of them. You should read the terms and conditions. You could do a little research. Ours happens to be the Capital One Travel Rewards Venture Card. And it gives us so much % back on everything that we purchase in the form of rewards. And I can go in every month and I can use our rewards to erase our camping. I have done that many times where I have just gone in and erased the $650 that we paid last month for that monthly stay at that last campground. It works really, really well and can save you a ton of money.
Yeah, just be disciplined and you make sure you don't carry a balance.
Yes, that is the key. So because you don't want your rewards are not worth the interest, right? I think we all have that part figured out. But yeah, it's been a real bonus to our travel expense budget for sure.
Yeah, it actually helps for us to manage what we're doing a little bit easier for sure.
Yeah, it does. As full timers, it makes it a whole lot easier because I just pay one bill a month. So that makes things a lot easier for us. And in this day of COVID, right, they don't want our money. So the credit card was a way to go.
They'll take the credit card, but they won't take the money. I don't know.
So since all this today is about travel planning, we want to make sure that you know to go get that campground reservation log for free that's up in the video description. And you can join us on our newsletter list and get more tips about RV living, full-timing travel planning, and just RVing. We publish those weekly. And when you get the campground reservation log, that is there for you every week. So
that's right.
Yeah, so we're going to take a minute and talk to people who are live. So let me look here. So if you're logging in through the Facebook group, Stop Wondering and Start RVing, if you didn't give permission for StreamYard to let me see your face, then I don't know who's saying hello, but someone is saying hi, y'all. Hey. Glad you joined us today. Doug's here with us, and Leslie says, can't wait to visit my first Harvest Host. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a cool experience, and we can't wait to do more of them. So
yeah, we love Harvest Hosts. It's just a great way to spend the night when we're traveling. It's relaxing. We just found every one we've been to has been just been great.
And somebody was reading my mind. She said, Corps of Engineers. Yes, Corps of Engineer Parks. They consider you volunteers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Kimberly says, howdy. Howdy, Kimberly.
Hello.
And Leslie says, thanks for the great ideas, especially the travel rewards card. And Rosemary says, hi, y'all. Yep, that's Rosemary. Hey,
Rosemary.
So glad you guys joined us today. We would love to know what your favorite travel saving tip is, if you have them, because we love to share those with other people. But those are our 10 best ones. And Steve says, recommendations on where to shop for the best travel rewards credit card. I think if you just Google travel rewards cards, there's so many people that have YouTube videos or blog posts and they compare them. And that changes a lot because their terms and conditions change. So if you just Google that. And Wayne says, thank you for a wonderful program. Love it. Well, thank you, Wayne. We appreciate that. Well, it's been a real joy being with you guys today. And we are going to talk about some more RV travel planning tips, and soon we're going to be launching into some more full timing tips as we get closer to the fall. So you stay tuned with us and join us on our almost every Wednesday RV Living Show. And we say that because sometimes we need a break, but almost every Wednesday we are here at 2 p.m. Eastern time, here to serve you and get you going in your RV life. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you.
It's been fun.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.